Well, folks, my name is Mark. Today I'm going to give you a wee bit on life of living with having ADHD. I was diagnosed at a very young age, probably between the ages 4 and 5, and I only discovered probably myself that I had it whenever I was probably 7 or 8. I found out my parents were giving me all this medication, and I was just like, oh, what's this for? And seeing these words stood out in big capital letters, ADHD, didn't have a clue what it was. I was only a kid at the time, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to do a bit of research. So ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So that can come underneath the autism spectrum and stuff like that there. And it affects people very differently, varies the person. And basically it's pretty self-explanatory. Your attention span can be minimal, a lot of hyperactivity, etc. I would have never been able to focus in education, like I've never been able to concentrate looking at a book or something like that there. But yet whenever I go home, I'd spend hours and hours gaming or trying to play with my friends and stuff. School was never really good for me. It was very hard to get work done, be distracted all the time and all that. But then when it came to like the physical aspects of ADHD were really helpful to me because I always had this built up energy and I had the way to release it. So I kind of really, one of the things I really enjoyed part of like the primary school growing up part was sports day at the end of the year, and that's whenever I just excelled at everything. Coming to secondary school, I didn't really have any sports I was into or anything like that there, so I tried rugby, wasn't too great, I was afraid of getting hit, so I dropped that. And I took up badminton after my grandfather just says, you know what, let's go for a game one night, and I really came to enjoy it. And after a few years of training, I got into the Ulster squads for the badminton, or I was in the list for the Ulster squads, and I didn't get through to it fully, but I definitely won a lot of amazing matches just due to the enjoyment of it, because hyper focus with an ADHD is something that allows you to excel in sports or anything really, particular for me with sports. So I was one of the best badminton players I was told at the time, and I pulled off some mad stuff because of it. Like an ADHD allowed me to have that hyper focus around everything. I could see everything better compared to other people. Like I was always more aware of things, and it really helped me in badminton because it was people don't think it's a real sport. It's very much a real sport. You sweat after a good 2-3 matches. The challenges of having ADHD is you do have a hyper focus on some things in your life. You can't pick and choose it on it as well. Like it just comes and goes. But like there are benefits of it. Like you're always that one jolly kid in the group who's always uplifting, trying to be, you know, woo, really happy and trying to get others motivated, like regardless of theirs or like moods and all. And it does help sometimes. Sometimes it can be a wee bit overwhelming for them, and that's understandable. But it's it can be very hard sometimes as well, because even to this day I still struggle with, like, say, trying to maintain focus on things within like college studies or anything like that. I can't read. I've only ever read 5 books in my life because I can't read more than 5 or 6 pages at a time. I just lose focus and interest. It took me 2 years to finish a 1,000-page book just day after. It was very hard to do. But like I love like being able to bounce about, enjoy myself, go like swimming's definitely one of my best sports, and being able to kind of like get the energy it's natural energy and that natural drive to do something that you enjoy, and swimming is particularly one of those things for me. I can go 3 kilometers probably at a steady pace and just over an hour without stopping. It really does like help, tires me out, like, but it's really more if you can't really pick and choose sort of thing. It just comes and goes in waves. Like, so I'm here today because I love to be here, and I love getting that energy out because it's actually really fun here as well. So I love the dancing, I love the feeling more. It just really helps, and it lets all the energy out so that whenever I don't have it, then it's not all built up, and then just doing silly wee dances in the middle of the street and stuff like that there. And if you notice, I can never keep still in class or something, so I'm always bouncing about doing wee dances or just tippity tapping my legs and hands, like those are the wee things, like wee kicks and stuff. But as everything with everything you have in life, there's pros and cons, and definitely I'd say there's more pros within the physicality of like sports and like being able to get out in long walks, do 30,000 step walks and stuff, like those are the benefits of it. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming for the scientific word is neurotypicals, and it can be a bit overwhelming because I'm so uplifting all this and they're just like it's like I love it, but it can be a bit too much and that's understandable, but like you just have to kind of like learn to control it as well. Sometimes it says it comes in waves and flows. It comes in a mental and a physical way as well, as it says. People have it, each individual person has it differently. They can have the physical aspect of it where they're always pumped up with energy and they have to do so much sport or so much physical activity in one day to get their body physically tired. Or they can have a mental aspect where their head's always wandering about, everything they see, they do, they notice everything. In the peripherals, the mirrors, they can see everything. Like, it's strange because they say sometimes we have heightened senses. Whether or not that's true is a different thing, but I can definitely say I'd see, I could hear, I'd be zoned into more things on a day-to-day scale than anyone else would. If you were to walk down Tesco's with me and we knew the same people, I could spot about 10 of those people and you could probably see one or two of them in a big crowd. It's just kind of part of who we are. And it's really, it can be mentally draining sometimes as well because it's a lot to take in as well. But that's where you have to also work. It's like a muscle, you have to work the mind and the body in order to get a good night's sleep. That's the main thing. And if you can't do that, then you can have a sleepless night. But mostly it is a benefit as well. Like, it's benefits in sports, it's benefits in a social aspect, and it's just really, it has helped me through a lot of things. Sometimes it can, be the complete opposite, but you get the best with the worst as well. Like, so, does anyone have any questions?
Do you find that your mind's like constantly going, and is that what it is?
Never stops. There's always intrusive thoughts, there's always positive thoughts, like it never stops. It's the only time you can stop those things is whenever you're directly talking to someone. Like right now, I've nothing else to think about because I'm so focused on trying to do this here. When I'm in the middle of a class, I'm just committed to that class, like for those 2 hours, there's no external thoughts. But whenever you're not, when you're sitting about and doing nothing, it just completely switches over and it's just consistency. It's never ending, which is why you always need to be at something. So, yes. Anything else?
When say you're on one of your highways, where you're just full of energy, do you notice that yourself, or does it take someone else's reaction to you for you to recognize it?
For a long period of time throughout my childhood, I never noticed it. I just thought, this is who I am. And it wasn't until my late teens that I kind of just realised then people were just like kind of right, it was how people were kind of responding around me, and then I kind of looked back at myself and I was like, right, I need to be able to recognise when this isn't happening. And sometimes you can't even acknowledge that you're that so built up, like, but there is a lot of times now where I'd be like, right, I'm here, I'm full of energy, and then there's times where you just won't be. And sometimes it depends on your environment as well. Like that energy can be so free and so consistent based around your comfort and stuff like that there. Other times it can be compressed and stopped by those environmental factors and stuff like that there, and you may just have to limit that based off who you're around, the place that you're in. Like, there's days you'll see me dancing down Main Street there, okay, just vibing to myself, like going, just be myself, and I knew people look at me funny, but I just like, you know what, you need that, even regardless, you need that little bit of energy release as well from time to time. But I can recognise it now, but about 10 years ago I would have known if or when I was like in that some burst of energy, or if I wasn't, like, so it's very delicate for the first few years of your life until you become really self-aware of it, and that's why I did so much digging into it. I recently did my course with the ATB there and intellectual disabilities, and I did we did assignment, we had to do all this, and we had to dig into a specific intellectual disability, and I did my own, being on the autism spectrum. I dug in a lot more about myself, and I made myself very self-aware in doing so. Like the pros, the cons, the scientific, the biological aspects of like how my brain's actually wired to specific circumstances around certain environments, and it really did help me grow in the last number of months. And it allows me now to recognise that wee bit more about when, where I can't be, that energetic side to myself, as it says, can't always be controlled. And that's something you learn over years and years of consistent development and self-acknowledgement. Like, because about 10 years ago, I would just let that chain loose, like, and there was one scientific thing that I actually found out very interesting. I was on medication for the majority of my younger life for ADHD and stuff, which allowed me to actually semi-focus on things, like I could mildly concentrate. And the days I wasn't allowed to be sent into school, or I would have to go home from school if I didn't take this medication, because they would just see an unhinged, explosive, energetic side of me, and it was uncontrollable, so I had to be sent home. But that was what it was at the time, and it's just because after years and years of this medication trying to keep me focused and contained and stuff, once it just let loose, it was very explosive now. So I got to a stage then where I kind of just said, I want to just see what I'd be like long term off this. So at the age of 14, I went off the sides at my own free will. I says, I've been on this stuff for nearly 9-10 years, and I want to see what it was like. So it was the summertime, and I wasn't in school because my parents knew I couldn't go to school being like that, and they were very, very lucky that we didn't. So I went off the medication, and for the next 6 weeks, if you said ever watched the Looney Tunes, it's like Speedy Gonzales running around the house. So much energy, so much explosion. They couldn't say no because I had to let so many years of just compressed energy out. And it felt amazing at the time, and I knew I was a wee bit overwhelming and stuff, but it had to be done because it was just so many years of that there, and it allowed me then to kind of grow and develop, and allowed all that pent up energy then to get out, so that then I could start back from a flat line and then just build my way up to the part where I finally acknowledge now when, where I can do all these different things, and if it's a good time, if it's a bad time, and if there's those little tics of me like starting dances, wee agitations or stuff, me tapping my feet, pretending I'm playing the drums. All those little things just make the difference, like, and it makes you a wee bit more self-aware of yourself.
And Mark, what advice would you give other people affected by the condition from your own experience?
It depends on the person themselves. Each individual person can have a different thing. They can have the mental aspect of the ADHD, they can have the physical aspect of it where they have the energy, but in my case I have both. And if you think that you are different or anything, you're not, we're kind of like the evolution of humanity in a way, and it's definitely good to look into yourself a wee bit more and recognise these little tics and things like that there, because it'll help you develop and grow as a person. And there's completely and utterly nothing wrong with having ADHD. It's actually a benefit and a blessing at the same time. There'll be negatives in between being there, but definitely do a wee bit more research on yourself, educate yourself, and yeah, so that's about it.
Thank you very much, Mark.
No worries.
Thank you.